communicate, well, this is a quote from another animal communicator, but I think it really does say what animal communications is, which it's very simply a process of becoming more aware of the images in your mind, the thoughts in your mind, and the feelings in your body. So your animal, and actually, well, I'll show you later, you're probably picking up from other people as well. But the hard part is, am I thinking that? Is my animal sending me that thought or feeling or image? But there is a way to learn this. I honestly did learn this. I did not start out like understanding animals right away. If you're the kind of person that needs hard scientific evidence for this, these are 3 things you might want to look into. The Heart Math Institute has done a lot of research on, they have the ability to show that your heart produces a bioelectromagnetic field that can be felt and influence others. There is a biologist named Rupert Sheldrake that did extensive research on dogs and how they know when their owners are coming home. And if you ever get a chance to look at his videos, they're fascinating because he tried everything to debunk this theory. Put people in different cars, different times a day, had them walk, and they had cameras on the dogs, and the dogs always knew when the owner was leaving to come home, no matter what he did. So he ended up coining a term called morphic resonance because he basically couldn't figure out how to explain how they were doing it. And then actually quantum physics has a theory called quantum entanglement, and it shows that particles can influence each other even over a great distance. And they don't actually know how that works either. Einstein used to call it spooky action at a distance. But it does seem to explain things like distance healing, why I could look at a photograph and do a communication reading. So how to get started? I did start by going to classes and reading books because this was in the days before the internet. But a lot of it, even taking the classes, a lot of it was that getting that awareness of which things were my thoughts and feelings and which things were coming from an outside source. And then I practiced on everybody for years, honestly. My friends, my family, my family's friends. I would have them call me. I'd look at pictures. I'd go there. And a lot of it, too, is just trusting that you are getting this information. I think our society tries to tell us that you're not getting this information. So as an adult, it's a little hard to kind of work through that, but which is why I practiced for years before I became a professional. So we have what we call extrasensory perception, and it can come in many forms. And I'm going to go through the 4 main ones that I think come into play in animal communications. So the first one is images. So I want you all to take a second. You can close your eyes if you want to, and picture in your mind a big red apple. So were you able to do it? Yep. Did it have color? Yep. Was it maybe on a tree or a table? Did the picture have detail? No. Yeah. So everybody will tell you that animals speak in images, and this is definitely not my strongest. I have learned better, but my big red apples may be fuzzy and in black and white. But it doesn't mean you can't do this. But this does mean you are clairvoyant. If you can really picture clear images in your mind, then this could be one of your strong senses. Do you walk into a room with another person or many people and maybe ask yourself this question, like more than you care to admit? Are you mad at me? Congratulations, you're an empath. So you are picking up on the feelings of others. This one gets hard to distinguish. This, because I'm an empath, I mean, it is hard to figure out, am I worried that other people are mad? Are they mad but not at me? Like, what the heck's going on? You can walk into a room and feel a vibe and kind of know what's going on. But I do use this, like this was a very clear sense that I had, and once you learn to distinguish it, it really does help you with animal communication. How about this one? Gosh, I felt fine a minute ago, and then I sat down next to this guy, and God, I have a headache. You have clairsentience, and that is the ability to pick up, excuse me, on physical issues that other people might have. I once was at a concert, and I sat down next to a guy that I knew, and my shoulder was killing me. And but I was in the middle of learning all this, and I elbowed him, and I'm like, is your shoulder hurt? He goes, yes, it's killing me. I've had this shoulder pain for like a week now. And I was like, yes. And I think he thought I was like gonna fix it or something, but I was like, I can't believe, like, I realized that wasn't me. It's just one of those things, again, you have to start learning to distinguish the difference. I get a lot of people that I go and do communication with, and when they realize, when I say that, you know, this horse has a headache or their foot hurts, and they're like, oh shoot, yeah, I feel that. How about this one? Oh my gosh, I was just about to call you. A person, maybe you haven't seen them in years, and you get a message from them. So you have claircognizance, and it's just really psychic ability. It's that ability that you kind of know things before they happen, or you just know information. You have no real logical reason for knowing it. And this comes into play a lot too. It kind of comes through with some horses as a download of information, and I really have to just talk it through to get it all out. But these are definitely the four main ones. Every once in a while I'll get an auditory one where you just hear a word. I had a horse one time. He was trying to he did tell me he wanted a vet, and we were trying to figure out what in the world he wanted from a vet, and then he was staring me down, like he really was serious about this. And all of a sudden, and the owner's kind of talking and trying to figure it out, and I hear very clearly in my ear, like a person stood next to me and said a word, David. So if any of you know Dr. Adam, and I just said David because it was so weird to me that it came through that loud and clear. And his owner, she's still flipping through her phone, and she goes, oh yeah, David, oh, you know what, he did work on him like, about a year and a half ago down in Florida. He was a lot better after that. I'm like, okay, well, he wants David. And the horse like went and stood in a corner like, you know. that took a lot of effort. So for homework, if you are interested in learning how to do this, this was the real groundbreaker for me when I went to the class, is you should go home and think about and write down a time when you knew what your animal was thinking. Like, you had no earthly reason to realize they didn't want that saddle. They didn't want to get ridden that day. They really needed their bucket of water changed. Like, you just knew. And then write down a time where you know your animal knew what you were thinking. Like, they came and comforted you. They knew you were sad. They cut you a break one day because you were having a bad day. But really start writing it down, because it made me realize how much we already do this. We just kind of pass it off to other things. And then we're not going to go into this a lot here, but you need to find a way to ask yes or no questions, because that comes in handy for obviously a lot of reasons. I use muscle testing, it's called, or kinesiology, and you can look that up. My old horse actually answered yes and no. And I do actually get a lot of horses that, as we're talking, I can see them over there like giving us signals. So you can work out a system sometimes with your horse about answering. My horse actually went to Del Valle College for a year with one of my students. And he was down in the wash stall, and there were girls up above in that tack area. And one of them was talking about her boyfriend, and she wasn't really sure if he was the one, and maybe something happened. Should she break up with him? And my friend said my horse was down there violently nodding yes. And everybody in Del Val knew he answered questions. So they yelled up to her. They're like, why don't you ask Gary? And so I think Gary was responsible for a breakup. So let's get into the common themes and the topic of this talk, which is what your horse wants you to know. So I can't say that, definitely every communication is different. Strangely, I don't remember a lot when it's a personal detail. I used to kind of not tell people stuff in the beginning because it sounded crazy and I wasn't sure I should say it. And then it would haunt me. Like, I would end up having to call or text somebody and go, like, your animal made me say this. Like, but if I don't tell you, I'm never gonna sleep again. And then a lot of the personal information, I don't know, people come up to me all the time and go, remember when my horse told you this? And I'm like, actually, I kind of don't, to tell you the truth. But there are things that do come up a lot. So this is probably the biggest question that I get. Does my horse like me? People tell me all the time, I was afraid to even call you. I was afraid my horse would say like bad things about me. I did have one horse say that his owner wasn't a very good rider, but she was getting better, but I think she meant it kindly. I will say this. I feel like, well, first of all, I give their opinion on everything. Like, the vet, I've had horses tell me, like, they don't like the vet, the farrier, the old person that used to own them, the other person that rides them. Like, they definitely have opinions on things, but I feel like if you're the kind of person that's calling an animal communicator, your horse probably likes you. They might have something in their living situation that they want to have changed. I did have someone that their horse really wants to do something in his life that they don't want to do, but she told me she already knew that, and she knew like she was a temporary person for him. But yeah, I've never had, usually they just love us and want to spend even more time with us, so I wouldn't worry about that. Are they ready to pass over? That's probably the second biggest question. And this is my horse, who has now got one eye, refuses to leave me, has been lame since he was 6 years old off the track after a bad injury. I've threatened his life many a time, but he really doesn't want to go, which is fine. He's a big, expensive dog that I paid for, so it's all right. But, he's only 24, but he had a hard life. So one time he has a fused leg from a bad track injury, but he was really, really limping badly. And I thought it could be an abscess. I have no way to tell. There's no way to find a pulse in that leg anymore. But it went on for a long enough time that I finally said to him, I was cleaning the stall next to him and he was eating, and I said, honey, I'll give you a couple more days, but I can't really even watch you limp around like this. And he came hobbling out of that stall, doing a tap dance. I'm like, all right. And a couple days later, an abscess popped. So, but honestly, when you're asking that question, your horse will tell you when they are ready, or your dog. Dogs do tend to want to wait until the owners are ready. They have this ability to kind of check out and be okay. I will say this, because I do talk to animals that have crossed over, and I've never had one tell me that somebody put them down too soon or too late. It's really a personal decision between you and that animal, and they will let you know. You will, all of a sudden, you'll be dreading it, and one day you go, you know what, today's the day, and I'm okay with that. And that's when they're ready. So They don't think of death exactly the same way we do, so they aren't really as worried about it as we all seem to be. So again, that's my best advice, honestly. I'm happy to help you with that question, but that is usually the answer. Bad behavior. I always get the call, my horse was jumping and now they won't. My horse did this and now they can't. My horse bites me. It's pain. Pain, fear of pain, fear, which is, what do I fear? Pain and or pain. So, and it doesn't always have to be like they are in pain, they think they're going to be in pain again. Like horses were created to try to, avoid predators and avoid hurting themselves and being the ones that are going to be eaten by the predator. So if they have stopped doing something that they seemed to always do well, it's probably pain. So my best advice for that, honestly, I also do body and energy work, and a lot of times the horses really want their owner to be involved in that process, to be the one that does the body or energy work. I shouldn't say that. Every once in a while I go to Barnes and like everyone else is getting the chiropractor and the horse is like, I want the chiropractor. Like if it's the cool thing. But so you can learn, there's a few things that are relatively simple to learn. Reiki, anything like that, hands-on, T-touch, Masterson method. Those are kind of the big three because they're very light. Horses like them. But if you're not interested in any of that, I encourage you to at least, whenever you're with your horse, run your hands over them and start to get to know. They will signal you and you're at an area they don't like. You will be able to feel muscle tone, and you will start to be able to catch things before they become big problems. Because haven't we all called the vet and they go, I don't see anything. Like, you know your horse better, and you can start to get ahead of these sort of, all of a sudden, they're not performing anymore. They have to be true to their nature. So even if you're talking to them, I mean, I can talk to people and they don't listen to me or do what I say. So our horses are no different. So the woman that I trained with was Anita Curtis, and she always told this story that she later in life came to horses. She worked at a barn. She would bring the horses in at night. And she said she just couldn't physically bring two at a time. So that meant like someone was always left out in the field by themselves. And she had picked this one horse who was the calmest and quietest. And then every day she'd say to her, like, I'm taking the last one in. I will be right back out to come and get you. And the horse would say, okay. And then she said, by the time I got back out, the horse is running and upset. And she finally said to her, like, why are you doing this? I tell you every day. And every day I come and get you. And the horse said, I can't help it, it's my nature. But like, it is the truth. There are things that, again, you can talk to an actual person and they don't listen to you either. So you do have to keep some of that in mind when you are talking with your animal. And then this is the other big one. They really want our time together to be happy. Like, the biggest complaint that I get from horses is barns where there's discord. Who they really don't want to be around are the people who kind of act one way, but their emotions are another way. I was just at a barn not long ago, and this horse complained for a pretty long time about someone in the barn, that they were really loud, they were really bossy, they were nice to people, but then mean about and stuff when the people left. And the woman was finally like, shh. I think she knew who it was, and they might have been there. I don't know. But that kind of thing, they don't like. Like, they want our time. They are here to make us happy, be happy with us. A lot of the complaints I get from when they've had a past alcoholism comes up, that kind of thing. Like, just again, someone whose actions don't match their feelings. That's really hard for them. A lot of horses understand English. They understand certain words or a lot of words. Some fully understand every single thing you say. But horses are all fluent in emotions. That is their language. So when they encounter people that's kind of a discord, or people that come in and are checked out, or, I see it a lot, unfortunately, with like, it's a teenager kind of a thing. They're, struggling with boys and horses, and they come to the barn and maybe they're not okay. I did have one horse, if anybody, teenage girl, if she caught an attitude, he would buck them off. Like, he absolutely refused. I used to tell them, pretend you're happy, smile, pretend you're happy, because he was having none of it. So, yeah, that's, honestly, it makes me sad when I get those horses that have come from a place like that, because that, especially in their younger years, the things that happen to them from like birth to age 2 really, really stay with them. So bad braking situations, a lot of the track situations, really kind of set them up to view people in a certain way. So if you do find yourself having, you've had a bad day and you want to come to the barn and have a good time, try talking it out, because you will hear your emotion come out in what you say to your horse out loud. I have a client, she insisted that she was not nervous, and then she would say to her horse, "You're okay, you're okay, you're okay." And I'm like, can you hear yourself? Because that actually sounds nervous to me. Like, the words you're saying are soothing, but not the tone and the emotion behind it. So it's a kind of a good, easy way to get yourself out of your head. And if you can't do that, then what they tell you to do is hum. You can't hum and think your intrusive thoughts at the same time, apparently. So here are some tips. I wrote them down because I was afraid I was going to forget them. Yes, this is my lovely animal who, I don't know, he ripped down a vine and wore it for a day. So if you do want to start working on talking with your animal, be specific when you ask questions, because they are very literal and specific about their answer. I once got a girl that called me. She said, my dog was outside by himself. I brought him back in, and now he's acting kind of funny. And I wondered if you could ask him what happened. And because I get the physical feelings, I could tell it was sort of an allergic thing. I felt like my tongue was getting that allergic feeling. And so I kept asking him if he ate anything. Did he eat anything outside? Did he eat anything inside? He kept telling me no, no, no. And I kept saying to her, I think he's having an allergic reaction, but I can't figure out why. And then finally, I don't know why it occurred to me, and I said, did you get stung by a bug? And he goes, oh, a bug bit me, so I bit him back. And I'm like, okay, he got stung by something. But like, in his mind, he didn't eat that bug. That was a completely different question. So be specific. So the other one is, if something comes to you and it seems really unusual, I mean, some of the things I get, because I work a lot through emotions and feelings, I am interpreting, but every once in a while you get some, I'm like, I don't know what this is, but just say it, because honestly, most of the time the owner knows exactly what I'm talking about. My friend actually, she had a pet rabbit, and she was trying to leave the door to the deck open because he liked to go out there, but it was buggy, so she decided to light like a citronella incense. And she said she didn't have anything to put it in, so she put it in a cast iron frying pan, like right out on the deck, and she said her rabbit was going nuts, just like running around this frying pan and having a great time. And then she called Anita Curtis to talk to him, and Anita said, I'm just going to say it, your rabbit wants to do the thing with the frying pan again. And she said, I have have no idea if you know what I'm talking about. And my friend's like, unfortunately, yes, I do. So again, just say the weird thing, because it probably is the weird thing. I will say, like, practice, man. Practice on everybody. You can do this off pictures. Remember, quantum entanglement. I would have all my friends send me pictures, and don't be afraid to be wrong. Like, what are they going to say? I don't understand what you're talking about. You know, no big deal. You're practicing. You're probably not charging them right away, so that's okay. And, you know, a lot of times people, you can say something, it doesn't hit them right away, and they'll call you back later and go, oh, yeah, now I remember that thing. And then I do encourage you to look up that muscle testing kinesiology, because it is a great way to get a yes or no answer. And I will go over that more, like, if you're ever interested in a class. And that is it. So questions and answers, anybody? Yeah.
So, Lisa and I have known each other for a while. She has worked with my 25-year-old Russian warm blood that every time the vet sees it, he said, what are you doing with this horse? He is in such good shape for his age. But I was wondering, Lisa, if you could talk a little bit about, you know, we keep asking Stanley if he wants to retire.
Yeah.
You know, that whole work ethic thing. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so the vet keeps telling Mary Jo to retire Stanley, and Stanley is like, absolutely not. Does want to keep working. I mean, he is 25. He's had some issues. We do rehab with him, but honestly, like, he just keeps getting better and better. So we are honoring his request. Like, Mary Jo's even looked into retirement, and I swear, it's like he knows when she does it, because we'll have a really good lesson the next time, and then we both change our mind. So it doesn't mean like we're going to go out and fox hunt him again, but we are finding ways to keep him feeling like he's working and happy, and that's what he likes to do. So yeah, that does come up, I know, with the older guys. So.
What's the most unusual animal you've talked to?
I don't know that I've talked to, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. In my class, I took a class with Anita that was 2 days long, and so I stayed overnight. It was like middle of Pennsylvania. And so kind of the woman who started Animal Communications is Penelope Smith, and she's out in California. And so anyway, there was a woman in my class that had trained with Penelope, and she goes, you really should talk to Penelope's goat, because he's crazy. And she hands me this picture of a goat to take home with me, and I'm like, I'm just looking forward to being in a hotel room and like ordering room service and not doing anything. And I look at the picture of the goat, and it was really like, I mean, honestly, it was like something like hit me, is how loud this goat was. But Penelope uses him all the time to like help train people. I will say this whole thing will change how you view like a lot of things. I get horses that talk about past lives. I get horses that talk about, I don't know, crazy stuff. Like sometimes it goes really weirdly spiritual. They tell me that they picked their owner. They knew that owner was coming for them. It's not exactly like the animals that are crazy, but sometimes like the stuff they want to talk about isn't what I thought we were going to be talking about. And at first, again, I used to be like, yeah, I'm not saying this part. And then I would go home and go, I have to say this part because I can't stop thinking about it. But now I just say it. And the owners always seem to kind of know what I'm talking about, so.
We had that, she did a reading on 3 of ours, and our youngest one, she just did a quick introduction. She's 18 months old, and she goes, I don't know, he's very adamant about you knowing that he's royal. Like his dad is royalty. You need to we don't even know, like his dad is some Andalusian that wasn't registered and didn't have anything. And they were like, oh, wait, no. And it took about 5 minutes. I go, oh, no, wait. His mom's sire is a national grand champion saddlebred, who is one of the, and his name is Royal, what is it, Royal something?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, they need to know. I'm really well bred. They need to know that.
I know. He wants like the name Prince or something.
Yes.
They picked out a beautiful long Andalusian Spanish name, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, that's okay, but it needs to have Royal in it.
I know. I do get animals that want to change their name. That is also a little bit common, but.
Anything else? Anybody?
Do you teach classes?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah. I have like a half day kind of an intro, just for owners, and then I do a full class for people that really want to learn.
And we've got some business cards out on the tables and stuff too. Is that information available
Yeah.
on the website?
Not yet.
But they can reach out to you.
Right, yes, thank you.
So you're located in this area?
Yes. I live in New Jersey, but I work mostly in Pennsylvania, so I'm all over this area. Yeah.
Do you do dogs too?
Yeah. Dogs are great. I can do cats as well. If you have one or more, if you have more than one cat, I swear they always elect a spokesman, and like one will usually talk for all in the household. So.
All right. I'm going to call it. Thank
All
you.
right.